This is I Love Black People Radio on HUR Voices, Sirius XM Channel 141. I Love Black People is more than a radio show. I Love Black People is a call from our ancestors to protect us from racial profiling all across the world. Go to iloveblackpeople.com and become a member today. Membership empowers you to live fearlessly and protect Black people globally from racism and xenophobia. Join us today and become a member of our global network with an online global green book with Black-owned and Black-friendly businesses to protect you and your community. Membership is free, and with you, we will become 10 million strong worldwide. I am because we are.
Welcome to another wonderful episode of I Love Black People. And today we have a super duper treat, a dynamic brother who's basically carried me through many episodes in my adult life, not just this episode of I Love Black People. So I'm very grateful and thankful in so many ways for who he is, what he is, and how he does it. And I just want to welcome incredible brother Antonio Lambertis to this wonderful episode of I Love Black People. Welcome, 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 Antonio.
Thank you so much for having me. I am honored, I am humble, and I am very appreciative of being here with you. You know, my brother. You know, you're a guy that I could call any time of the day and pick up the phone and just have a simple conversation, a motivational conversation, which is always needed, and is always love. So I live my life is through love. Everything is through love nowadays.
So humbly, well, let the audience know who you are. They probably know you by many of your different names, but I think the work you've done as an entertainer, as an actor, as a host, as a master of all things ceremonial. Please give them some of your background, good brother Antonio.
Well, I was blessed to do 25 years of radio in Washington, D.C. Started out at PGC, then did KYS. Under Antonio the Cuban Cigar Smoker. After in 2014, I decided that I did not want to do radio. I dedicated the 4 years to taking care of my mother, who was my hero. And once God said it was time for her to hang out with him, I decided that it was, these are conversations that I had with my mother. I decided with prayer and believing in myself and knowing that I have the talent to take the challenge and the risk to pack up, and just come to LA and go after the ultimate dream, which is acting.
Wow, packed up everything. A very successful career in the nation's capital. Like you said, spanning 2 decades. Creating the soundtrack of many of our lives. We're grateful. Many of our livest, most epic moments, we had you literally doing our theme songs, our background songs. We all had that, and we definitely appreciate the New Year's Day, the New Year's Eves, the homecomings. I mean, literally, bro, you're interwoven in so many of our experiences as a Generation X and I guess a millennial. I mean, so I think just thank you for all that. Thank you for all those moments. And I think that sometimes we were also caught up in our own daily, it wasn't even our daily, we were so caught up in so many of our evening antics, we didn't actually say thank you. So thank you, Antonio, for keeping it strong like that.
You know what, Claire? I think the only thing I disagree about that is that I believe that actions speak louder than words. So the love that I got back from the city, the love that I got back from people like yourself, the love that you genuine love, because you can tell the difference between hey and genuine love. People in Washington D.C., me being the first Afro-Latino to do urban radio in DC, me being so different from New York City, being a Cuban man coming in and being able to get the opportunity and to get the love. I mean, to be able to have had the pleasure to be a host at a go-go event, to to be the person that produced the Go-Go Awards at Constitution Hall in Washington, D.C., to be a person that be able to sit down and have conversation with the mayor of D.C., to also have a conversation with the person with the corner store in D.C., to be able to go to the basketball events, to the free concerts, to all the things that that DC was able to open their doors and allow me to be in, show me the gratitude and the love that I'm gonna forever have. You know, people say, it's funny because now I'm caught up in a situation, people are like, where you from? So now it becomes tough to say I'm just from New York, or because I can't do that, because you have to, I went to DC specifically to go to college, got high, somebody hooked me up in college, and it's all been love. It's all been genuine love. And I know that 5-10 years from now, when I'm receiving my Oscar, I definitely gonna have to thank Washington D.C. because they made a lot of things possible for me.
Wow. So I mean, I think that humbly, just definitely, and the point of correction, humbly, big brother, appreciate that. What when you look back, I mean, and again, we're not looking back. We're definitely going to talk about what you're doing now. Connect the dots. You know, help us with the transitions. A lot of times, I think some of us, especially generationally, we follow a certain path, and we get afraid to change that path. We listen to what people tell us. Even the people who love us will tell us to keep going in a certain direction because they would think it's safe, or they think it's the traditional, acceptable. You know, how do we, you know, in our later stages, take these big steps? And again, I know you always look youthful and vigorous and vibrant, but how do we, you know, when you're talking to our audience, you know, a lot of brothers and sisters, you know, they got their empty nesters, but they're still in their late 40s, early 50s, and you know, they've created a career, you know, so literally when they at any fork in the road, the road that's more paved is the same day in, day out thing that may not have been their dream. How do we get, you know, how would you speak to that, you know, it's time to pick up? I mean, because you were very, very, very successful. So oftentimes it seems like we get consumed by, or I don't say become a prisoner of, but we literally been typecast as this is who you are, and there's so much more to who we are. How do we unlock that? And how have you unlocked it? And how has that experience been?
Well, the first thing and most important of all is you have to have it all in God's hand. You have to understand and you have to know that God is the conductor of your life. He's the conductor of this boat. So with that said, for me, you know, because God put certain people in my life and put me in certain places that it worked for me. For example, in 1999, I was hosting a club named Club U. There was a young lady that came in with a friend of mine who went to college with me. So I got him in, gave her the VIP, the whole treatment. 2 weeks later, there was somebody at the radio station that was supposed to show up to a promotion, but they got sick, so they asked me if I could cover for them. So back in those days, I don't know if you remember, they used to have those commercials that said, do you think your child could do Disney TV? Do you want to be an actor? Do you think you got what it takes? Come to such and such at the Marriott Marquis and bring a headshot and come and see. So I had to work that. And so happened the person that was in charge was the young lady that was with my friend 2 weeks before that. I gave her the VIP treatment. So think about it. I wasn't even supposed to be there. And she saw me. She's like, oh my God, listen, I just got to thank you. It was fantastic. So we got into the conversation. I told her, look, I'm blessed that I do radio, but acting is my core. I believe acting is my core. So she was like, I'm going to take you under my wings. And she gave me information to take acting classes in New York City. So I used to travel to New York every weekend and take classes. She introduced me to people to the point now that she's a top executive now at Netflix, and we talk and we work, and it's, so that's God put me in that situation. Then you fast forward and you go to 2010. I'll never forget this. I went to a high school in Washington, D.C. I went to talk to the kids. And one of the things I used to do is that I used to use the words that were supposed to be the cool words, and I used them against the students, but in a positive way. And back then it was keeping it real. And it was like, yo, I keeps it real. So I used to be like, keeping it real is going to college. Keeping it real is listening to your parents. Keeping it real is loving yourself. Keeping it real is knowing that this is just a pit stop in your life, that you can make this better. And I'll never forget, I'm walking to the car. I was actually driving a KYS truck. This young lady said, excuse me, Mr. Antonio, I just wanted to say thank you. And I was like, oh, you're welcome. She says, you don't understand. Last year I was in middle school and I heard you talk, but I want you to understand that I am keeping it real. My mother's in drugs. My father was abusive. I was giving up on life, but you told me that I could actually change and keep it real, and that I could become better. And I believed you so much that I made a change. I wasn't even going to come to high school. That young lady talking to me hit me so hard that when I went to the car, I started crying. I cannot look at myself in the mirror because I'm telling people to keep it real, but meanwhile, I know that the ultimate goal is being an actor, but I'm being a radio host because it became easy, was comfortable, and I did not want to get out of that comfort zone. I wanted to stay there. From that day on, every single day I went to work, I was uncomfortable. It was a problem. I asked God, find me a way to get out. I need to go after the ultimate. I need to. And so it took prayer, focusing, a lot of cry, a lot of laughter, a lot of just self-building myself for the moment. I was thinking that having my mother her last 4 years of her life, it was me helping her, but it helped me more than it helped her. God brought her back to live with me after 30 years to be able to grow, to change my mind, to change my perspective, to look at life in a different way, to have gratitude towards the elderly, to have gratitude towards life, to have gratitude towards the things that we want, to go after the things that we want. My mother was born in Santiago de Cuba in 1930. She left Cuba 2 weeks before Castro took power because they knew what was going on. My mother went through the Martin Luther King stage, to the segregation, through all of that, but she always knew that she was going to have her house, that she was going to have her kids around her, that she was going to have her grandkids, that she was going to actually live that American dream that was promised to her back in 1945. So having these conversations and putting God in front. So then it became, after that, it became a thing that I had to realize that everybody was not going to agree with my decision. So what happens is that you have friends, and friends of yours will be like, "Man, do you really want to, at your age, you want to pick up and you want to leave and you want to go? Are you out of your mind? You killing it out here. Why would you go?" So what I realized is that some people try to put their fears on me, and some people just wanted to make sure that I didn't screw up and make the wrong decision. So I decided, look, it's my decision. It's what I want to do, so I'm going to rock with it. And once again, through God, 17 years ago, my lawyer's brother so happened to be the guy that created the Jamie Foxx show, and he was the executive producer at the Martin Show. Through the entire process, I stayed in touch with him, talking to him and everything. I had an idea of a show. I said I was going to create the show. He said, show me. He said, if you could show He says, everybody comes to me. Everybody always come to me. Hey, man, I want to do the show. He has a lot of shows. He has his own studio out here. So what I did was I started driving Lyft, and the money I got from Lyft and Uber, I would shoot. I would determine to shoot. So I created a project which we are pitching right now. It's called A Good Cigar. It's like. So what I did was I sat down and I looked at TV and I learned that there's a blueprint to everything. So I said, when I was 52 years old, 3 years ago, I said, when I go to LA, I'm gonna be different. I'm gonna be an older guy compared to the young people that come. I'm not gonna have a six pack. I'm not gonna, but I'm gonna be confident in who I am and what I am and what I can bring to the table. But at the same time, the smart thing to do to talk to people is to create content. Because now I said, okay, I'm not gonna wait for them to put me on. I'm gonna put myself on. So I'm going to create content and put myself on it, but I have to do it so good that I had to get their attention. So once I came out here and some people saw the content, they started saying, wow, you did this yourself. And wow, hey man, I got a role in this show. You wanna come through? Absolutely. I got a one-liner. You wanna come through? Absolutely. It's about being humble. It's about, if they give you a one-liner, it's to work that one-liner like you the main character. It's about having pride and staying steady and connected. Because what people don't understand, people think that your natural talent is going to do it for you. No, you got to take classes, stay in the classes. I started in 1999 in classes. And it's not that I'm dumb or I'm slow or anything. It's that I had to constantly sharpen that too. I constantly got to be prepared because I know that my opportunity, the great opportunity is going to happen. What you have to also realize is that your look, what role can you play? What role is out there for you? What makes you different? What makes you special? They might put you in a box and say, okay, I'm a big guy, 6'5", 280 pounds. He's gonna be the body guy. He's gonna be the bad guy. He's gonna be the police officer. And then your ego might get in the way and be like, this is crazy. But if you look at a TV show like Blackish and you look at the lady that plays the mother, every time she's playing a role, she plays the mother. Now, she played Blackish for 8 seasons at 13 episodes at $100,000 an episode. You know what I mean? So everything is dependent. What is it you want to do as an actor? And those are one of the things I learned being out here as an actor. Where do I want to be 5-10 years from now? What are the things that are set out of my mouth to come to fruition, to put it in the universe, to ask God? I tell people, and to this day, some people laugh, and I tell people, I'm an actor because I'm out here to be the best at it. I'm working to be the best. I'm not working to be put on. And there's a difference because, like you said, when I was in radio, I was one of the most popular guys and famous guys in DC. And I could have lived that. I could have just dealt with that if that was what it was all about. That feeling of, hey, can I get over? No, I want to be the best. If I say Denzel Washington, you say the best. If I say Meryl Streep, you say the best. You know what I mean? Robert De Niro here, you say the best. So when you say Antonio Lambertis, I want somebody to say the best. And that's the goal. That's the ultimate goal. And knowing that that's the ultimate goal, I know that I'm in a marathon. I'm not in a sprint. The key is for me to constantly stay working, constantly doing auditions, constantly going to stuff, constantly knowing that when I walk in, there's a 99.9% that I'm not going to get it, but there's always that 0.1%. So as of today, I don't have an agent. That's one of my goals, but I just did something with Charlie Sheen, that they're about to come out with. I done with MC Light. She got a show called Partners in Rhyme. I'm in an episode. I did a TV show called Millennium. I had a recurring in the show called In the Cut. I'm shooting a Christmas movie called A Christmas Prayer. I'm working on picture two of my own shows. I'm working on some other stuff. I'm working on writing. So for me, it's every day. You know, my days are 20 hours a day. You know, my days are constantly. You know, now there's some things I do, so now I have to go back to working out, nutrition, and coming down on weight and getting to where I want to get to, and because there's some roles that I want to be able to attack and do. So
So you know, you're talking a lot about the future, and I think one of the things that so many people have been hearing with the war and COVID and the monkeypox and the boo boos and the ooh oohs and all the next things that are going to come scare folks with the inflation and everything you're saying shows a level of excitement about the future. You know, a level of anticipation of, you know, keeping it moving and staying active. And I think some folks got to the point where they're so fearful that they don't take risks, they don't keep the pace as you laying it out. You know, what are some of the things that keep you motivated? You know, as you look at the changing landscape economically. I guess as an actor, you know, when they had the COVID was big, things were shut down in a great part of it, and to still be making these moves. You know, talk about, you know, doing some of that. That seems pretty powerful when you're talking about it.
well, number one is I know that I have a purpose. I know what my purpose is. And I think when you know what your purpose is, you excited to wake up every morning. I just know that God has not finished with me. I mean, I look at you're right. You look at COVID. We shouldn't be here. You know what I mean? But we here. But it was the same thing when AIDS came out. It was the same thing when you know the chicken pox came out. It's the same thing with so many things that came out. I cannot. The one thing I have learned is that every day is positivity that has to come out of my mouth. If my father used to say, "There's always more good people than bad people in the world," and you must believe that, because if not, it will be worse than what it is right now. You know, we got people out here robbing people when they're in a restaurant. We got people here, white people, we back to we can't get along. You have people here that, you know, you got to be careful what you say. You got to get canceled. There is so much negativity out there that I don't need to be a part of it. You know, I tell everybody, my circle, every time gets smaller and smaller, because when we have conversation, it has to be positive conversation. When I talk to you, I never call you and say, "Oh, Sinclair, life is terrible. This is man." I because I never am going to show you my struggle. The one thing as humans that we usually don't see progress between ourselves. You know, you sometimes you work and work and work and you don't see progress, but when somebody points out that progress, then you're like, "Oh wow, there's really movement and progress going on." And I think that I've been blessed to have that. I've been blessed to have people, and it's not, look, if you're my friend and you cannot find my fire, you can't be my friend, because I'm always gonna fan your fire. And that's what basically is all about.
Yeah, friends got to be friendly, man. And I think even the fact you're talking about these relationships, I think one of your superpowers has always been, you know, being friendly as a friend. Like being a friend ain't just a name, but it includes friendly. And I think all these relationships you've cultivated, you know. So as we wrap it up, what would be some last words you would give our folks? Because we definitely got to get you Black on here and share some more of this wisdom. What would be some of your last words to our folks who are going to be watching for you on the big screens?
The thing I do is my goal in my life is to be happy. Whatever, I know what it takes for my happiness. I am a happy person now because I am working in the process of getting to the ultimate goal. There's movement to it, but happiness is the key. Because once you have happiness, everything else is butterlicious.
All right, butterlicious. Look, I've never had us ended on butterlicious, and we're definitely always breaking. We're always breaking new grounds here on I Love Black People Radio. Humbly, brother, always, brother Antonio. Appreciate you. And as we always end this, we always say, "I am because we are." I definitely am. Because of you. Like, definitely you have been super duper helpful in this journey called life. Episodes, if this was an episodic, your episodes would be some of the epic episodes. Woo! That could have gone real wrong. So thank you so much, Antonio. Thank you for even this episode. Thank you for this episode. You definitely helped us, put the cape away, maybe wear a mask, but definitely thank you, good brother.
Love you, man.
This is I Love Black People Radio on HUR Voices, Sirius XM Channel 141. I Love Black People is more than a radio show. I Love Black People is a call from our ancestors to protect us from racial profiling all across the world. Go to iloveblackpeople.com and become a member today. Membership empowers you to live fearlessly and protect Black people globally from racism and xenophobia. Join us today and become a member of our global network with an online global green book with Black-owned and Black-friendly businesses to protect you and your community. Membership is free, and with you, we will become 10 million strong worldwide. I am because we are.